Hello there, K-othic here. Today I'm here with a new review of a pretty popular IM. Welcome to Kiwi's Cadenza in a nutshell. Kiwi's kindly provide me with this model to give a honest review, so a big thanks to them. Kiwi's is a relatively recent brand in the audio market, with their first IMs, the Kiwi's Orchestra, being released in 2021. 1 year later, with the hope of reaching a wider audience, Kiwi's decided to create the Cadenza, a dynamic driver IM priced at $35, which I believe needs no further introduction. Let's quickly get to the contents of the box. The Cadenza comes in a blue box, regardless of the design you choose to purchase. The unboxing experience is enjoyable, with the IMs presented in the front compartment, and underneath it you will find the cable and a variety of silicone tips in small bags. Now, onto the most important part. These IMs are built using a 3D printing process with resin as the main material. This provides a solid and tactile finish, while also making the in-ears very lightweight, which contributes to their comfort during use. Additionally, this type of construction allows for a wide range of design options. We have Burst, which is blue, Prelude, this one, which is violet, Chorus, which is red, and Solo, which is green. The driver inside the Cadenza is a dynamic driver with a 10mm beryllium diaphragm. According to the information provided by the company, beryllium is among the best materials used for making diaphragms. Next, the cable follows the black aesthetic of the IMs throughout its design and has 4 cores of braided copper, a 0.78mm 2-pin connections, and an L-shaped 3.5mm termination. I found it to be acceptable for the price and didn't feel the need to change it. I would recommend upgrading it only if you intend to use the Cadenza with devices that support balanced connections. Then, the quantity of silicone ear tips is more than sufficient for the price. Kiwi's provided us with 9 pairs of tips that have a standard size bore. Personally, I would have liked the variety of ear tips to include different tips, like 3 pairs of wide bore ones and 3 pairs of narrow bore ones, to allow for greater customization. In my analysis, I ended up using wide bore ear tips, which helped enhance the definition in the highs and slightly widen the soundstage. Lastly, and as I spoiled a bit earlier, the comfort of these IMs is excellent. The Cadenza are lightweight and fairly small, and when you find the right tips, they seal exceptionally well and are practically a 10 in terms of comfort and isolation. I don't give it a 10 for very specific cases, such as listening to music while lying down, as they protrude slightly due to their design. Having covered all of this, let's move on how they sound. The sound signature aimed by the Cadenza closely follows the target of the Harman curve. If I had to describe it, it will be a mild U-shaped tuning where the bass and treble are slightly boosted while allowing mid-frequencies to shine. The sub-bass and bass region are elevated, as we saw in the graph, giving the Cadenza their characteristic warmth. However, it is important to note that the quantity might not be enough for bass heads. I found that the definition of the bass notes wasn't the best I've heard, but it seemed decent considering the price range these IMs are targeting. Despite this, I felt they had enough punch to make electronic music genres enjoyable, while still being properly controlled to not overshadow vocals in pop songs. Moving on to the mids, they have a faithful timbre to real-life sounds, but with a touch of warmth, and perhaps a slightly more emphasized presence for male vocals, in my experience. I found a decent articulation between vocals and instruments, but I noticed that they struggle a bit to resolve musical passages where multiple instruments were playing simultaneously. Apart from that, this frequency range sounds natural, but I could perceive a slightly dry quality, as the reverberations in live recordings of Sinatra were less pronounced. Lastly, I noticed that string instruments lacked some character or authority, while wind instruments sounded smooth and pleasing to the ear, thanks to the warmth of these IMs. As for the treble, it manages to stay below what I personally consider as bright, but I can understand if others find the cadenza a bit piercing in this area. Whenever I listen to heavy metal songs, I didn't have any aggressive sensation from the cymbals, and the same goes for classical music where bells and cymbals are played. The treble definition is sufficient as the cadenza focuses more on musicality rather than analyzing the small details. I found the imaging of these Kiwi earphones to be precise, accurately placing the instruments and vocals on the stage. On the other hand, their soundstage creates an adequate distance from side to side, giving a good sense of width in the three-dimensional scene, but they fall a bit short in terms of depth based on my analysis. Well, I believe that these two awesome sets deserve a comparison one against the other, so I will quickly compare the Cadenza versus the 7Hz Salnotes Zero. The most notable difference is that the Cadenza provides a greater amount of bass, a characteristic that I found the Zeros lacked of. Other than that, I found the rest of the spectrum to be quite similar. The Zero has a cleaner transition to the mids and a slightly better resolution in this frequency range. I felt similarities in the treble region where both IMs avoided being overly aggressive and provided a similar level of detail. Imaging is better on the cadenzas. Soundstage width is alike in both sets, but the Zero excels in terms of depth. In summary, both IMs offer an astounding performance for the price they can be obtained. I had high hopes for the Cadenza, and they didn't disappoint me at all. I am pleased to say that I gave them 4.5 stars. They fall just short of a perfect 5 due to minor details, such as the lack of definition in the low end and the shallow soundstage. However, for $35 they are amazing, offering a very enjoyable and pleasing sound signature for various genres, and I can assure you they are the most beautiful IMs I have seen under $50. Hey there, I hope you liked this review and found it useful. I will see you the next weekend with more audio reviews. See ya!